We have more ways to save on WUSA9.com. Just text the word money to 202-895-5599 and we'll send that information straight to your phone. Switching gears this morning, if you are hoping to get outside and enjoy this weather before the rain this afternoon, beware that tick season is already here. The CDC says emergency room visits for tick bites are higher than normal right now and are running at the highest level for this time of the year since 2017. Meantime, Maryland health officials are urging people to take precautions. So this morning we are joined by Dr. Bobby Mukamala with the American Medical Association to help you get in the know about, ticks and everything that we're talking about. Good morning to you. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
This season, it's starting off pretty fast. What are you seeing right now in terms of tick activity in Maryland and across the DMV?
Yeah, we're seeing more than normal, and that's never a good sign. So, higher than normal amount of ER visits. The emergency department for tick bites are, across the United States with the highest that we've seen in 10 years. So, there's CDC data that already shows this. So it's a great time to be talking about it so we can prevent it from going up anymore.
Yeah, and of course, prevention is so important. What do you feel is driving this spike so early right now?
It's tough to say. It might be the condition and the dampness and the, grass growing already. But I live in Michigan and we've already had our grass mowed twice because it's growing. And when it gets to be moist and taller, it's a great breeding ground for these things. And so the ticks love it, and that's why they're populating it.
And for those of us going outside, the weather is great. What do we need to do to protect ourselves?
This is actually an easier time to protect ourselves than when it gets warmer. I mean, in Michigan this morning, it's about 50 degrees. And if that's indeed when ticks are out there and I'm going to do some lawn work and some flowers, it's cool enough that I can put on some long sleeve stuff, right? So I put on a sweatshirt or a sweater and sweatpants instead of shorts and a t-shirt. So I'm covering up a lot of skin that's going to help with that. And then, of course, there's stuff we can put on. The permethrin and things like that are CDC approved to protect ourselves so that they're less likely to bite.
Mm-hmm. And for people who think that they may have been bitten, you're not sure, what are some of the warning signs, symptoms that make it really worth calling a doctor rather than just sitting around and waiting and watching?
Yeah, the easiest one is if we see that tick on our skin. And everyone tends to freak out. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get Lyme disease. I better go to the emergency department so they can do something about it. That's really not necessary. So when that tick is on our skin, we have to get it off, right? And you don't have to wait to go to the emergency room to do that. It's not dangerous to get it off. But what I will say is that you don't whack it like a fly on your skin. You have to pull it off, because when it starts to penetrate the skin, we want to make sure we get all of that out. And so we pull that off. And if for some reason we didn't notice it and it starts to get a little bit red, especially in the center of it, that's when we should go in to get medical care, because that's a pretty easy thing to fix so it doesn't cause something like Lyme disease. A regular antibiotic, right, doxycycline, which we use all the time for different things, can kill this thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think many of us have probably found a tick on our pets, some of us on our skin. You talked about removing it. What is the best and appropriate way to remove it? I know there's different things floating around. You have to get the head entirely. What does that look like, the proper way?
Yeah, it's really anything that you have to grab onto it and pull it off as opposed to pushing it in. And so obviously we may not have the tools for that at home. We might not have ordered anything. And so don't wait for that to come in before we take it off. And even just grabbing it, taking a napkin, towel, and pulling it off is the best way to do that.
All right. Great prevention tips. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much.